Now, with the unfolding developments in the governing All Progressives Congress, the National Working Committee of the party met behind closed doors, after which the Deputy National Chairman North, Abubakar Kyari, who presided, announced that the party's National Chairman and the National Secretary had resigned. Abubakar Kyari emerged as the acting National Chairman and Festus Fonta as acting National Secretary. As Arise senior correspondent India Mugo reports, the meetings of the party's National Caucus and Executive Committee slated to start on Tuesday have now been postponed.
The NWC wishes to inform you the resignation of the National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, CON, and that of the National Secretary, Senator Yola Omishore.
That's the acting national chairman of the APC, Senator Abubakar Kyari, announcing the resignation of the national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and the national secretary, Yola Omishore.
The proposed National Caucus meeting slated for Tuesday, the 18th, July 2023, and the National Executive Committee meeting of the All Progressive Congress slated for Wednesday, 19th July 2023 has hereby been postponed.
Adamu is said to have resigned following allegations of high-handedness and not being a team player, including alleged misdemeanors against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one of which is his attempt to unilaterally foist on the party the then Senate President, Ahmad Lawan, as a consensus candidate of the party's 2022 presidential primaries. It took the intervention of the entire members of the National Working Committee of the party to stop Adamu from achieving his aim. Before then, Adamu had threatened to discipline Tinubu after his famed Emiloko outburst in Abeokuta, Ogun State. And most recently, Adamu raised his voice against the choice of the party for the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who were termed to be Tinubu's choices. Not only that, at the very recent NWC meeting, he said the selection of the principal officers of the NASC was a mere rumor.
The national headquarters of the party, Electoral Committee, has not given any such information or communicated anything about the choice of the remaining offices.
Aside all this, there was the rift between both Adamu and the National Secretary of the party, Yola Omishore on the one hand, and the National Vice Chairman Northwest, Salihu Lukman, who accused both of non-accountability on the party's finances and running the affairs of the APC without regard to the party's constitution.
Today, I challenge both the National Chairman and the National Secretary. They have never presented to NWC any financial statement.
The Deputy National Organizing Secretary of the party, Chidi Duru, explains the latest developments in the APC.
The process that led to the emergence of distinguished Senator Abu Kyari and Festus Fonta as chairman, acting chairman, and acting secretary respectively was not only seamless, but had the support of the various caucuses and organs of the party.
Now that the APC National Caucus and NEC meetings have been put on hold for the second time, party members and Nigerians will be pondering on the future of the governing party due to its leadership inconsistencies in the last couple of years. Ndi Amugo, Arise News.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Cletus Obun, a former member of the APC's Presidential Campaign Council. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. Well, these are moments Nigerians would like to understand about your party, the APC. First, you know, I had spoken with the APC chairman, who just resigned, And he did say that there was no squabbles, no problems between him and the president. Let us in on what this is about. First, to start with the sudden resignation of the chairman and the national secretary, Mr. Omishori.
Well, let me first of all correct the impression that there is a rift between the president and the national chairman. Clearly, if you understand the workings of political party systems, there should be no rift and no cause for it in the first place. So for him to even come out to say that presupposes that he is completely out of tune with what his constitutional duties are as a national chairman of a political party.
For him to have said what?
That there is no problem between him and the leader of the party. That is the president of the country. There's no relation. The relationship between them, once the man assumes the office of president of Nigeria, it's about the implementation of the manifesto of the party. Beyond that point, he has nothing more to say as national chairman. It is the duty, it is clearly spelled out in the APC constitution. I partook in the formation of APC. I'm not a joiner. I participated in the formation of APC as an ACN state chairman and therefore a NEC member of the party, and participated in almost all the meetings that took place to inform the party about what progress was made about the merger. We tried it in 2011. Time was out of it, and we played the card that we were not agreeing in order to sell a dummy to the PDP. By 2013, when we concluded it, and INEC was delaying and dilly-dallying, we announced our emergence because the Constitution says so. Now, coming to the banana peels that have occasioned and attenuated the crisis or the seeming crisis in APC, it is only to prove that APC is really truly a democratic party, evolving and very fast too, to the consternation of the detractors who believe that this marriage was a forced marriage that could not stand. So if you say that the national chairman is resigning and therefore it's going to, for me, the step he has taken is the only redemption he has about his integrity as a man and then as a party faithful and as a politician.
About his integrity.
Yes.
What about his integrity?
What I'm saying is that the day he announced that the party had arrived at the consensus of the president of the Senate, Abel Lawan, and there was a counter to him, a man of integrity would have resigned that moment. To say you are impugning on my integrity means you are calling me a liar. So I no longer can participate in the process that will produce a candidate for the party. That did not stop there. A candidate whom he didn't want now emerges. That should be the second point he should have resigned. To say, I can't work with this man because I didn't agree that he should emerge in the first place. That is integrity. The third point was when the man emerged as a president. As party chairman who will implement the manifesto and insist and guide and protect and superintend on the elected officers from the local governments to the states to the national. Every elected officer, an appointed officer, ministers, members of boards and all that, you must insist, which is what we didn't do in the first 8 years. The tottering steps, the teething problems of the formation of a party that had to bring in and yoke in members who were disparate and desperate. Now, at that point, again, you should have resigned. Again, he didn't resign. So doing it now, belated as it is redemptive. It is like that thief on the cross who had to confess that Jesus is Lord and was now, Jesus said, today you'll be with me in paradise. Adamu, Senator Adamu, has just redeemed himself by resigning before he was going to be pushed out because he had no reason to remain in office after misleading the party to believe that there was a consensus. In any case, what business are they discussing?
I thought you were going to say, so therefore he's going to be with the president in the...
No, he's going to be with the Democrats, not with the president. This president just wants top.
So let's see if we can backtrack a bit. Isn't it try to think that what is happening now is making Adamu look like the fall guy? Because what he did say then, at that point in time, there was a party leader, and the party leader was the president then, President Buhari. Why is it that it is so convenient for every party member like yourself to think that Mr. Adamu is the one who wasn't honorable enough to have resigned when he spoke at that point in time?
First of all, like Caesar's wife, you must live above suspicion. Those type of faults shouldn't come from a man of his age, experience and exposure. He has been a senator, he's been a governor, he's been a minister. He's seen it all. And I'm sure that is why they brought him to stabilize the party at that point when there were contentions among who will contest and who will not contest as national chairman of APC. He was never a contestant. I participated, I was a delegate. I'm a former parliamentarian, so I qualify by being a principal officer by the Constitution of APC to be permanently a delegate to any national convention. So I can say this to you. He was never in contention. He never participated. He didn't even buy the form. It was at the last moment he was then conscripted, so to speak, to contest. So having done that, he was seen to be a forerunner, a Moses to take us to the promised land. Having fallen into the trap of being led to say things he shouldn't say, he should, on his honor, say, I cannot proceed beyond this point. You can't damage me to this point. But having not done so, I have said that by this night, having resigned, that is the only redemptive feature or symptom that is left of him, and he has done that. When you say he should be in paradise with the president, never with the president, with the Democrats, to say, you've done the last honorable thing, like Sido Ekpawo will say, his last duty was performed in politics by this resignation. So he lives with some modicum of, some iota of honor.
Is anyone in your party afraid to also point fingers at the president then? President Buhari can't be exonerated because when he spoke then, he wasn't chastised by the presidency and the president at that time who was leader of your party.
The president, if you remember, please, I participated as an organizer of the convention that produced the presidential candidate. I was an official. I didn't just participate in the presidential campaign council. I participated in the convention that produced the candidate in their primaries. I was an official. When that constitutional amendment was made to exclude all principal officers of state assemblies, national assembly. Now, the president chastised him. He didn't need to come and shout it in the playground. What did he do? He said, that is not what I said. There's a level playing ground, everybody go and contest. That was his chastisement. That he said it quietly and didn't carry him up with a cane and give him 24 strokes in the playground before the playground of Nigerian politics by making a declarative statement.
Mr. Obun, this looks like the first time this is making public. You're saying that the president chastised him when he when he declared that Adamu.
He said to him and to Nigerians and to us delegates and to organizers of that convention that he didn't say so. And
that he didn't say it was Ahmed Lawan that
never.
The party
that
wanted.
There was no candidate or consensus candidate. The president of Nigeria said so. That there was no candidate of the party. That everybody, there is a level playing ground, everybody should come contest. And that was what, if you remember, brought about the Milokong slogan in Ogun State. It was the hidden agenda, or rather the hidden statement and proclamation by the national chairman then, which was not made open until he made it open. And the man now said, Milokong, that I have done it for all of you. You cannot abandon me at this point. Let us contest. If I fail, I will withdraw. But if not, let us have a level playing ground. Don't give us an anointed candidate. And the president of Nigeria, he sat there throughout. I was there till 6 a.m. If you go and watch your program and on that day, I was being interviewed on the field. I sat there. I was an organizer. I was in a committee that conducted it. And he said to us that there is nothing like anointed candidate. Go and contest. And one by one, beginning from Akpabio, Senator Akpabio, to say, I'm declining. He didn't say I'm declining, I'm withdrawing on the instruction of anybody. I'm declining on my honor to support Ashwab Tinubu. The next person did that and all that and all that. And it came to pass that he now won the vote of those who were supporting him, who declared their delegates for him. So this chairman, at that point, should have felt, in any case, like I said, if he felt that the president betrayed him after telling him to make a pronouncement and didn't do so, what should an honorable person do?
But again, speaking of betrayal, I think it should come clearly that your party betrayed Adamu. Your party betrayed Adamu because Adamu helped your party win an election. And he said that. And if he was against the candidacy of President Tinubu, perhaps there would have been a lot of hiccups leading up to that election. Are there things you know that we don't?
Yes, maybe you know which you don't want to say because as a journalist, it's not part of our duty to proclaim what we say in our party.
No, because I just asked a question because I'm saying that it looks that you disappointed Adamu because that's a man who sat on the saddle and your party won an election. So if there are things you know that the people don't know, perhaps this is the time for us to hear you.
Liquid Sequito. Facts speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
We lost Lagos State by about 7,000 or 8,000 votes. but got over 70%, 40%, 45% of the votes. When we say we lost Lagos, we lost only the presidential election in Lagos. The rest of the National Assembly elections in that same day, that same time in Lagos. Because the people are quick to say, and you say Adamu lost his own state, but your president can't also lose. The DG also lost. But in electoral losses, what you count is the damage, the collateral damage, and the consequences of that damage. So when you hear of collateral damage, we lost only the presidential election in Lagos and got almost everything in Lagos in the National Assembly. In the case of the national chairman's Nasarawa State, please give us the statistics. Every person
what does that tell you?
It tells you that the president
of losing Lagos.
No. When you say lose Lagos, I'm asking you, what's the cumulative damage?
No, you just said.
What's the cumulative damage?
It didn't come from me. You just said it.
Yes. That what is the cumulative damage? I gave you the statistics of how to judge the damage in a war. What is the collateral damage? What is the cumulative effect of a damage, of a loss? You lost to the point where you didn't get 25%. You lost to the point where you didn't get a National Assembly members the number you want, and then proceeded as a national chairman to claim that you won your own, or you lost, the presidential candidate lost, the DG lost. But what is the level of their loss? They got their percentages and got National Assembly enough to give us the majority in the National Assembly to support the president that they fought for.
You don't want us to, you don't want us to dig deep into Lagos because because we saw the kind of move that the governor made to ensure that those things were actually brought back to winning ways for your party. So you can't actually put that on the doorstep or on the plate of Adamu. You can't say it was as a result of what Adamu did prior to the primaries that cost your party Lagos.
No, I'm not talking about Lagos. I'm only using Lagos to say...
Because I asked the question, and that was when you went to Lagos.
I said to you, let me give you this.
Go ahead.
I'm saying, because the moment you say Adamu lost Nasarawa, you say, okay, Tinubu too also lost Lagos.
No, I never said that.
No, I said this is... I'm in the public domain.
All right.
I won't pretend about that. Please, these things must be put side by side. Nigerians must be made to know this in political analysis. And in one of the papers I just presented, I just finished presenting a paper about the intrigues and interest in Nigerian politics. And one of the intrigues is to make sure that you go to your opponent's zone to ensure that he loses, so that you come back and use it as a point against him in getting political patronage. That has happened all the time. But in the case of Lagos and Nasarawa, I'm putting the difference, I'm making the difference. That look, these two lost, but what is the level of their loss? While one lost in the presidential election but got more than the maximum point to give him Lagos, he also proceeded to produce National Assembly members that will protect the president in the National Assembly and give us the majority that made us majority in the National Assembly. In the case of Nasarawa, we didn't just lose the presidential election, we lost plus the seats in the National Assembly, both in the lower house and in the upper house, the Senate and the House of Reps. And you can proceed to Plateau and say the same thing. I'm saying that as national chairman, there's a level to which you cannot descend. Now, it didn't stop there. When Oshimole became national chairman, what happened to us then was that in 2015, we learned the lesson that you can be majority and become minority, where minority will produce a surrogate leader, as it happened in the case of Sariki. Oshimole learned that lesson and presided over from day one after the election to organize the party in a way that we had a seamless election of National Assembly members. What happened in 2023 after learning the lessons from Oshimole? We got a situation where the national chairman now rather quarrels with the National Assembly for producing a leadership that was not approved by him. In any case, which part of our constitution says that the national chairman should produce a national leadership for the party in the National Assembly?
The next question should now be what happened to Oshimole. It looks as if your party is still very much with strange bedfellows.
No, clearly...
like Oshimole, like Adamu. But again, I think we had much more bickering, leading to Oshimole's exit.
Yes, the reason was obvious. The power play at that time was about 2023. And taking him out was going to stop Ashwaju from coming to power. And he was seen as an Ashwaju man. And those of us who came from SCN with him were seen as such. Now, if you remember, in their studios and everywhere, we came out to say, this man has produced results. We couldn't produce a National Assembly leadership in 2015. Now we are producing a National Assembly leadership. We didn't win this number of states in 2015. We are winning this number of states in 2019. Therefore, you cannot take a man out for doing a good job. That was our argument, that the results of this man do not show that he should be disgraced. If you don't want him again, ask him to do the honorable thing and say, look, go and be ambassador here, but don't make him look like he had done something wrong. And that was our argument, and we stand by that argument. Today, the Edo North people have vindicated us because they claim that it was the ward chairman that removed him. That same ward today gave him the kind of landslide victory you saw in Edo North. And Edo North has never fallen since Adams Oshomole became governor of Edo State. You go again to Akwa Ibom State. Once Akpabio got into this as minority leader, first timer, became a leader of the National Assembly. He was made to fail the election, the intrigues I'm talking about. And when he was taken out, by the time he came back, today, look at his victory. He didn't just become a second-term senator, he rises to become Senate president. So again, you find that the intrigues of the Nigerian politician about interest and capital interest has played us to where we are. So Adamu's exit today, for me, is a rebirth, a renaissance, a renewed hope for the Nigerian APC. The progressives in Nigeria will today go to sleep well and believe that Kyari will organize and galvanize the party to consolidation of the progressive mode which operates on a welfare basis as is enshrined in Section 14 sub 2 of the Nigerian Constitution, which agrees that the welfare and security of the people is the primary.
Is it safe now to say Saliu Lukman, the vice chairman Northwest, who's always spoken against Adamu, has been right all this while?
Adamu was an accidental national chairman. He never programmed himself to be so. From day one, he never prepared and acted as a national chairman.
But he midwifed your party to victory.
When you say midwife, the structure of the party he inherited was simply indestructible, unassailable, and unimpeachable.
Is it difficult to give a man his flowers, just the way they say it on the
street?
Because he did that.
I'm giving you statistics. The statistics should show you first. His own National Executive Committee members, Working Committee and National Executive Committee member, NEC, and the NWC, nobody has given him credit for as much as organizing the party. Remember, in 2019, with Adams Oshomole as national chairman, I won't fail referring to that. Each aspirant, each candidate got money from the forms they bought to run their primaries. After the primaries, after the elections, or rather, yes, in the campaigns, rather, they got money to run their campaigns. Each state house member got 5 million. Each federal house member got 10 million.
From the party?
From the party to run their campaigns. When the elections were declared, each of them got the same amount down to the presidential candidate from the forms money. And by the time Oshomole left office, there was enough money in the account of the party. As we speak today, that's what Lukman is saying. We've not gotten one day account of what happened to APC money. The one you inherited and the one you sold forms. Which state has gotten any reforms? Because there's a percentage by our constitution that ought to go to each state, and the state distribute to the wards and the local government, and then each zone. From that fund, for the first time we paid more than we paid in 2019. Funds were bought for more money. I give example of my local government.
You know, sorry to cut today. Were the party members, other party members, were they scared? Because at that point in time, Saliu Lukman was the lone wolf crying, and a lot of other people made him look like he was actually the bad guy in the party.
The Elijahs of each generation has its own Elijahs, a lone voice crying in the wilderness. At the appropriate time and moment, these kind of things come up. When he was speaking, we were all dug in to contest the election and win. I remember my governorship candidate, Senator Basio too, calling me and asking me, Chairman, I'm calling you, you are not even here. Everybody is coming here to ask for money. I say, sir, where we are now, even if you put money in my account, I can't access the money. The only currency we have now is our name and credibility. I told the governor of Cross River, the present governor as candidate then, that you don't need to give me money. You need money from me. The only money I can give you is my name. So I'm holding back and tell everybody to go to his word and go and hold his word. That's the only currency, because any amount in our account can no longer be accessed because of that cashless policy, that monetary crisis that we had. So you are seeing money in your account, you can't access it anywhere. The villager that you say, let me transfer to you, has no account. Those who have account don't even believe that you have transferred, you are doing 419. So it is, who are you? Can I trust you? You say, yes, look at your money here. I'll give it to you hereafter. If they believe you, they go to vote. So go and check our results from our polling units to our wards. That is where you know who is who. That is what Beavers has done. That is what INEC did that people are not giving credit to. That without money, people could win their election the way they did. If you could rig, it means you pay.
No, I thought you were going to say that is what the CBN also did. Because if you're giving the credit to INEC now, say that was that without money, you should be first without money. The credit first should go to CBN.
Now, let me say this to you. In all laws on earth and God, like Joseph would say, they sent me to Egypt as a punishment, but God sent me there to redeem these people and save them from hunger. You removed money from the system with the intentment of punishing those you think had money in APC to give people to buy votes. Having not succeeded, that was your intention, but it tested our resolution, tested our credibility.
Speculation?
No, if it is speculation, there could have been pronouncement to that effect. But the facts showed. In fact, one of the reasons that I was given was that it was to prevent vote buying. Because vote buying took place in a few staggered elections, or shown and other places, people said there was vote buying. And it was so rife, and that everybody now wanted a situation where there will be no vote buying. And people were referring to all kinds of, and insinuating all kinds of things. But Ahmed Tinubu, in his usual way, had built too many bridges for anybody to break all at the same time. And that played out, in which I told my governor that, look, Prince, you don't need to give anybody money, because any money you give now cannot even come out to be paid to anybody, to even pay transport. If you have credibility, the cyclist boy carrying you to the next polling unit will trust you that after the election you can pay him. So our currency during this election was our names.
So thanks to CBN. So quickly here now, let's speak more, because we're winding down. You've been a lawmaker, once a lawmaker, always a lawmaker, and the fine thing nice about those people in the National Assembly, the leadership in the National Assembly, how optimistic are you that the leadership as it is would give Nigerians what they desire, talking about laws that work? There are a lot of other laws that need to be tweaked, and many people still believe that if you have those that you have so elected, they will do the needful, but the fear is the interference of your party leadership.
One of the rules of the party, I told you from the onset, is to monitor and ensure that the party's manifesto is implemented. It is the duty of the party and the party leadership. If you step out of line, it will demarcate the party. So it is the duty of the party to do that. And I see Kyari doing that. About the National Assembly, you have now a leadership in the National Assembly of a tested executive who has been commissioner, governor, 2 executive positions. Excuse me. He has been senator, not just a senator, a leader in the National Assembly, a principal officer, and became a minister thereafter, and returns to become a the president has been a senator. The vice president has been a senator. In fact, he won the election as a sitting senator. And today, the SGF is a senator. So Nigeria is made up of, and like we said, the unacknowledged legislator of the world is a legislator. He is the make or mar of any nation. And the pivot upon which all democracy devolve is the legislature. So if these men have tested executive powers and have been in legislative powers and sitting in the executive today, and the others are sitting in the legislature, we are going to have a balance of power. So the friction, misunderstanding, mutual suspicion that has been always the bane of our democracy is coming to birth. Look at Biden today. He's been in parliament. He's sitting there. You're not hearing the crisis from parliament anymore. If anything, he gives them the energy and says, look, when we were there, this is what happened. He's been there for more than 30 years as a senator in the United States of America. Today, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 1993, Bola Tinubu was a senator who fought anti-democratic forces. Today he's sitting now to midwife the emergence of a solid, biggest democracy on the African continent. Under 30 days, he becomes a regional leader. Under 30 days, with presidents who have been sitting there for more than 8, 12, 15 years, he becomes a regional leader of the West African subcontinent. And if that happens, what that gives you is not just a renewed hope, but a solidification, a programmatic development of our democracy, such that no other time in our country could we have met opportunity and chance as we have got today.
Let's close on this. What's the future of the APC for close watchers? Because first, they still think that the APC should midwife or lead what you call a truly democratic party or a truly progressive party. And it's still very much difficult for you to disabuse the minds of those in the streets of Cross River State or Abuja about what is going on now in your party with the ousted chairman or the chairman who's just resigned, and even with some others who were really at the thick of things in the last election?
The APC has only come out to show that it is a truly progressive and democratic party made up of democratic elements and progressives to the core. They are not just providential, they are not just spiritually so, they are eternally so. And we are going to build a democracy that will come in the way of ANC in South Africa. The Democrats, remember, it took 101 years for the Democrats to produce the first president of the United States of America. It took 16 years for the progressives after SDP to produce the next elections. It is not a coincidence, it is prophetic that 1993, the SDP came out with a slogan of Hope 93, and by 2022 we had a new Hope 2023. Exactly 30 years after that we are producing a president, and June 12th was declared even before 2023 to be a public holiday, a democracy day for Nigeria. These are not things that happen by man's own chances. And those who have been thinking and believing that there's doomsday for Nigeria must think twice and come to the reality and to the realization and be realistic to note that the actors of 1993 are still sitting strong and healthy to midwife a process that will consolidate democracy on Africa's largest democracy, Nigeria, and under the leadership of the man who led NADECO, who led the democratic forces against anti-democratic forces of the military regime. And that some of those who were victims are still alive. The Shehu Sanis of this world, the Mikey Guinness of this world. We met on the streets, the Sam Amadis of this world. We were students then. We came out jubilating and we were detained, the Orok Dukes of this world. We sat in Calabar under the late Comrade Basi Epobasi. They led us to Lagos, to Olufaya's house. And by the time we were coming out there, we were detained in Aba on a night bus. And they just discovered us as NADECO boys. And they just kept us there for another 7 days. Nobody knew where we were. There were no telephones. So we could have been crushed there. So all these people are still here today to sit and speak the way I'm speaking is the grace of Almighty God. Take him away, there will be no Nigeria by now, by the kind of naysayers that we have today. So those who are busy chanting songs of disunity must look for another passport and get out of our space, because this is work in progress and Nigeria is making so much progress. We may not be making it as fast as you think, but we are certainly not lagging behind, because the world today agrees for the first time we have 8 political parties in Nigeria's national parliament. Today, we have a conquer mixture of the 18 political parties in every state, either as State House of Assembly members or as National Assembly members. Everywhere we have is the first time. So I think Nigeria is making enough progress, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to certainly be the captain of this ship.
Former lawmaker, former commissioner, former party member, Cletus Obun, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thanks for having me arise. We shall rise again.